Play the Jaenisch Gambit with f5 on move 3 of the Ruy Lopez. We immediately open up the centre to expose white's uncastled king and force white to defend. I show the tricks and traps early in the game where white gives us a quick win. We'll see how Super GMs use this opening to ensnare lower rated opponents. We'll also see the plans that give black a sustained initiative into the middle game. Now the first move your opponent might think of is e takes f5, and this is a mistake because it draws white's pawn away from the centre. We can play e4, gaining time on the knight, also restraining white's d-pawn, making it hard for him to develop his queenside. Given time, we'll follow up with moves like knight f6, d5, bishop takes f5, castle queenside, and then attack down the open f file. So white can play bishop takes c6. We'll always take with the d-pawn here to open up our bishop. This pawn will be an extra protection in front of our king when we castle. White will go queen e2. This is normally what white does with his queen. Now its light squared bishop is gone. His queen can come to the e file to attack the pawn, and it's pinned against the king. This indirectly protects against e takes f3. Now we'd go bishop takes f5. We're in time to protect our e-pawn. Our next moves might be knight f6, bishop d6, queen d7, and castles queenside. We'll be going for a minority attack on the king side, hopefully deliver checkmate. We're already up minus 0.6 here. So instead, white might go queen e2 immediately. Again, we go queen e7, unpinning our pawn, renewing the threat of e takes f3. Now bishop takes c6 is the most common move. We take with the d-pawn. It is possible to take with the b-pawn. I'm not saying you can't. This will allow us to play d5 later on. We've also got the idea of a5, bishop a6, hitting the queen. But it does mean that our king will be less secure if we castle queenside, so it's a sharper option, which leaves our king open, but gives us a better position. Anyway, knight d4, escaping from the pawn, knight h6. Now I love this manoeuvre, knight h6 to f5. You see it in the closest ceiling in the King's Gambit. Basically our knight's going to be better on f5 than on f6 because we're going to be attacking with moves like knight h4 later on. So white can go knight c3 to gang up on our e4 pawn, knight takes f5. This knight's hanging, so white's forced to exchange, knight takes, bishop takes, and now this pawn's covered. White is going to be forced to play d3. It's going to ruin his pawn structure after pawn takes, pawn takes. We've got a clear plan of, again, castling queenside. We can even consider going g6, bishop g7, and these two bishops form a great battery down the long diagonal. So very promising position. We'll probably win if we can convert these double bishops. Now a much better, more solid line that your opponents might go for, if they know this, is d3. Now we haven't actually given up a pawn here because white's declined our gambit, but we still get quite a nice fun attacking game because we'll be attacking down the half open f file. So we go f takes, d takes, and knight f6, putting pressure on this undefended pawn. Now white can castle. We don't want to take immediately because then rook e1 will be putting too much pressure on our king. So we'll go bishop c5. We want to go for standard development with bishop c5, d6, bishop g4 if white doesn't prevent it, and then we'll castle and go knight d4, hitting this knight which is pinned, and this bishop on b5. We can also consider even d6, a6, and b5 with a fianchetto with our two bishops down the long diagonal. If white goes for a normal defending move like knight c3, defending this pawn, this gives us time to go d6. We want to castle. Our rook, bishop, and knight will work together to attack this f2 pawn, which is very dangerous for white. Meanwhile, white's just going to develop, now that we've put our bishop on c5, his bishop lacks a good square to develop to. He might even be forced to play b3, bishop b2, but it looks very passive. He's going to play moves like queen e2, just bring his rook to the centre, maybe advance some queenside pawns, but it's nothing for us to worry about. Better move for white would be bishop takes c6. We recapture with the b-pawn, and white takes on e5. He takes the gauntlet, captures the extra pawn. Now we have a plan of castling. We go d6, push the knight back, and then our bishop can come out to g4 again. If white tries to gain time on our knight with knight d3, we just go bishop d4. If the knight comes out to e2, attack our bishop again, it just come back to b6. So it's always got a square along this diagonal somewhere, and it will always be hitting that vulnerable f2 pawn. So we castle, knight c3, and d6. White goes knight d3, we go bishop d4. And now knight e2, our bishop just drops back. We can play this like a scotch because this pawn will always be vulnerable. If white tries to go for his own aggression with king h1, f4, this will backfire because this e4 pawn's weak. We can go for moves like bishop a6 even. It will take white a long time to set up the good Maroczy bind structure. In the meantime, we can play aggressively with d5 and knight e4. So a great double-edged game where we'll be on the attack. It's objectively a bit better for white, but especially in a faster time control, your opponent is not going to be able to prove that. Now we're on to the final move, knight c3. According to Stockfish, this is the best way to decline the gambit. Now black's not giving up a pawn here, and it lets us play one of the most fun moves in this video. We go takes, takes, and d5. We sacrifice this pawn on e5. Now if white falls back to g3, it's perfectly okay for us. We just go d4, gain time on this knight. We've got a strong pawn centre, we're not down material, we've got clear and easy development. We'll be castling queenside, attacking the king. So white's forced to take the gauntlet with this move, knight takes e5. We capture on e4, we're up a piece, white goes knight takes c6 now. The problem for us here is if we recapture, bishop takes c6, check, forks the king and rook, we go bishop d7, white will capture on a8, we'll recapture, and we'll be down the exchange. So we have to play this amazing move, queen g5. We fork this bishop and the pawn. Now this attack on the bishop takes the teeth out of the discovery, because if this knight moves, the bishop will be hanging to the queen. We've also got to be mindful of the fact that if we play a6 and manage to drive the bishop off this diagonal, then this knight will always be hanging. So white's got to keep up the initiative in order to not be driven back. So white goes queen e2, multi-purpose move, defending the bishop, attacking this pawn. Now we don't want to take on g2 too soon, because then queen h5 check will be lethal. But bear in mind, white's still got this discovery whenever he wants to use it. So we go knight f6, support this pawn, prevent queen h5. White goes f4, again a move that your opponents are probably not going to be able to find, especially in a fast game. This is from a game of Magnus Carlsen's, and of course him and his opponent both knew the theory to the nth degree, but not everyone, especially Ruy Lopez players as white, are going to know this. So white goes f4, queen takes f4, and the idea here is that knight e5 check, c6 and d4 hits this queen, supports this pawn, and allows white time to extricate this bishop. White's plan is probably going to be bishop here and take advantage of this square, either by moving his bishop there, checking, preventing us castling, or moving his knight, attacking our rook. So we want to prevent that by playing bishop e6 as soon as possible. We go queen h4 check, g3. And we go queen h3, permanently preventing white from castling. This queen's especially useful on this diagonal because it supports a bishop coming to e6. For example, if white plays bishop back, black will counter bishop e6, takes, takes. Now black has a clear plan of going bishop d6, the queen covers f7. We can castle queenside. With opposite side castling, we'll be throwing our pawns down the board, opening up the king side, and the attack rages on, even 15 moves into the game. This shows how potent and dangerous this opening is. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this video, that you find a chance to use these lines in your own games, and let me know if you found an especially good way to capitalise on this attack.